All right, everybody, welcome to Cedar City, Utah. This is a very special Built to Hunt podcast. We were visited by three special individuals today here at the Huntin office, right? We've got Seth and Bart from Peak Refuel, came down from northern Utah, and we have on FaceTime Chad Mendes to help us introduce the new meals coming out from Peak Refuel.
Yeah.
So this is pretty exciting times. I know we're all sitting around here. We're pretty hungry, and we have been longtime supporters of Peak.
Yeah.
Yes, in the office and in the field.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes we get a little bit hungry here in the office, and so we go in the bag and
that's the beauty of Peak.
Yeah.
It's good in the office. It's fabulous on the mountain.
It is fabulous. So let's dive right in. What have you guys created? Why am I looking at a packaging that's got 𝗀cie camo all over it and Chad Mendes' face?
Yeah. So we have, we're only 2 years old in the space and trying to raise the standard of what's been had for the last 40 or 50 years for people to use when they're in the backcountry. And one of the commitments that we've made to ourselves as a company and to those of our customers is that we wanted to be innovative. Freeze-dried food isn't probably seen as the most glamorous industry to be a part of, granted, but we're passionate. We're passionate about food. We're passionate about how we can make it more stable and not detract from the experience people are trying to have in the mountains, but enhance the experience. We think it's possible, and we think there can be some innovation done in the space. And so, we Chad and I and Bart and the team, we were able to get together back in January. Chad came out first of the year, and we had our first opportunity to sit down with Chad, and we knew right out of the gate that our desire and goals as a business lined up a lot with Chad's passion for good food and innovation that way as well. And so, naturally it just kind of fit together that Chad and us would take on this project and create meals using game meats, meats that are less common than what are usually accessible, and 𝗙cie𝗶𝗆 them, you know what I mean? Make them our own. And we build our meals specific for today's user. Our meals are built with good macros, lots of protein, good fats, plenty of calories as you're exerting all that energy out in the field. And so, working with Chad over the last 5 months, we've taken Chad's recipes, both using bison and elk, and going back and forth and collaborating on both packaging and meal development. We feel like we've come up with a couple of new meals now for a limited edition launch starting July 1st that we're pretty jazzed about, pretty excited about. So.
Really cool story about Chad that kind of brings this full circle is when we first launched back in 2018. We were in this basement office, really dungy, smelled fabulous. Go back to that word. We had just launched the site, and it was only a couple weeks up. And when you launch a first site as a company, all you do is you pull up Google Analytics and you're just
wait for somebody
to
visit, one person to visit.
Real-time Google Analytics. Ooh, someone's on the site. Let's see if they buy. And
see the tumbleweeds going.
Totally, dude. Totally,
and Seth's back in his office, and I hear this loud noise come from his office. He's freaking out. I was like, dude, what's wrong? And he's like, dude, Chad Mendes just ordered something off our site.
But you got to put it into perspective, though, and that's that. In the last 15 years, I can probably count on one hand how many MMA pay-per-views I haven't watched.
Right.
And so I was a big
MMA
fan. And so I knew Chad and watched all his greatest fights well before this ever happened. And so I was definitely alert to the fact.
He was fanning out.
I told Chad, I was like, dude, I'm a fanboy. Let me look at you for a minute, bro.
With your shirt on.
Yeah. And so, but what was cool about that is, and there's actually similar ties both with Chad and 𝗀cie as well. But Chad was a personality that obviously we held in high regard. We didn't know him. He didn't know us. Nobody knew us or had tried our stuff. But Chad, being just a customer, came and gave us a try. And Chad, I don't know if you remember this or not, but when I saw that come through and that order shipped out, I sent Chad a little email, and I just said, hey man, I know you don't know me from Adam, but I want you to know it meant a lot to me that you'd give us a try. So we appreciated that, and over the course of a year or so, we kind of crossed paths a few times until, like I said, in January this year, we were able to really sit down and figure out how we can work together. So,
wow,
that was cool.
So yeah, man, that was such a cool just experience for me, getting to actually meet you guys in person and hear this story, because I didn't even know this. And you know, me and my wife and my baby went out there and we got to see the whole facility, and they kind of took us through and, you know, ran us through how everything's made and packaged, and super cool system that they have. And hearing that story, I mean, it was so cool. I mean, I remember that day that I sat down and ordered the meals. I had a backcountry hunt here in California that me and a buddy drew. We were going to horse pack in and just stay out there for, you know, five days to a week. And my buddy Nate was actually like doing some research, and, you know, obviously all the meals that were on the market now, and I don't know if I could even say this now, but I hated eating them. Like, my stomach would be so jacked up for like a week after. Like, coming out of mountains right back into training, like, I felt like complete garbage.
You can say that,
I'm
Chad.
like,
Yeah,
okay,
you can say
cool.
it.
But I just needed something different. And so I started doing a little research. My buddy Nate started doing some research, and we found Peak. I started looking at the ingredient list, and I'm like, man, this is all stuff I can actually pronounce. Like, this is real stuff. You know, I'm going to give this stuff a try. So we bought a bunch. I bought a couple boxes, you know, the packages, and took them on our hunt, and we absolutely loved them. I remember, I think it was the second evening I shot my buck. We were like 6 miles from camp, and it was right before dark. By the time we got it all cut up, we hiked that thing back and started dumping rain on us. And we got back to camp probably close to, I don't even know, it was probably close to midnight. And I was starving, and I had the pasta. And I sat there and I was like, dude, it was the first time I had it. I'm like, this is money. Like, we need to reach out to these guys. I need to meet these guys. So absolutely loved the meals. It was a successful hunt, and all in all, it was just a, you know, cool experience to be able to get that stuff in my hand. And now we're teamed up making these awesome meals. And I'm just excited for you guys to try these. These are my personal recipes that I've cooked in my kitchen. I've made these meals for my family quite a bit of times. You know, from the elk or the bison that I've gone out and harvested myself. So I'm just excited to see what you guys think of them.
Yeah,
Sweet.
All of our mouths are watering.
How long have they been sitting there?
I think they've.
How
long
probably
have they been
not
going? Are
quite
they ready?
there. We're probably got another 3 or 4 minutes before they're going to be.
So Chad,
yeah.
when you first reached out to these guys, did you have these particular recipes in mind, or did you come up and say, hey, I'd like to talk about a collaboration? How did that, walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think we had these specific recipes in mind. We just kind of talked and, you know, knew that with my passion of the outdoors, the, you know, hunting stuff, and, you know, my love for cooking. And I think I gained that love over the course of my life from cutting weight so much. I was telling these guys, like,
For sure.
I used to sit like the day before weigh-ins. I'm just, you know, I haven't really eaten a meal in like 3 days, just kind of snacking here and there. And I'd sit there in my hotel room, and my wife thought I was the craziest person ever, but I'd be watching like cooking shows. And I'm just like, like taking notes, like, I'm going to eat this after when I can eat again, you know? And so I think that's kind of where the love of food came from for me. And, you know, talking to these guys, and I think they understood that I had that passion for it. And, you know, like I said, I loved what they were doing. It was a new company. I could tell that they were very motivated, and their product was money. You know, it was something that was top notch. It was quality stuff, and I wanted to try to be a part of it any way that I could be. So, you know, we sat down, we talked. I gave them a full list of some of my recipes. I'm actually coming out with a cookbook soon. And so we kind of went through a lot of those types of recipes. And they just kind of picked and choose the ones that they thought would fit well as a freeze-dried meal. And, you know, I think we had the mashers one kind of picked out. We just didn't really have a meat, right? And then I was going on the bison hunt. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I think ground bison and that would be unbelievable. So we kind of tied the two together, and I personally think it turned out great. So, like I said, I'm just excited to see what you guys think about them.
To add to that, you know, when we the process of taking a recipe, especially a unique or custom recipe like Chad's put together for these, it's quite a process to take that recipe and then try to figure out how we can scale that and manufacture that in such a way where we can produce the volume we need but not lose the quality, right? Because obviously there's a recipe that's been enjoyed. We want to share that with everyone else. We don't want that to be diluted or minimized through the scalability of it. And so when Chad first came out in January, you know, he met with our food science team, and because we have 2 food scientists who help us develop, and we would just go through these revisions of sampling and tasting. I think we sent Chad out 2 or 3 different samples to try, and he would give feedback about what he would want to tweak or change. We might go to him and say, hey, what do you think about this if we tweak it or change it? But ultimately through the whole process, we made these as absolutely true to the original recipe as possible while not losing any of that quality and touch that he had put into it in developing them. So it was a fun process. It was very collaborative, and you know, it culminated. I think it was at the Hunt Expo, Chad, that we gave you that final sample of the Bison mashers, and he was good with it. So we didn't. In fact, he said, "Don't touch it, don't change it."
You
So
got it.
we knew that one was a win. So.
Now, when you talk about scale, I don't know if you can share this or not, but like, what are we talking about? Like for a batch, like how big, how many pounds? What does that turn into?
Well, good question. So you know, on your stovetop, you might have a 5-quart pot or something like that you could whip up some potatoes or whatever in. Yesterday, we produced just under 4,000 pounds. So of the Bison mashers. So you know, that's a lot of food in volume. But again, you know, it's a delicate, fragile process to make sure that ultimately you take that 4,000 pound batch and put it into a 2-serving pouch and make sure that the quality and the taste is what people expect out of a Peak meal.
Right.
And so, you know, we feel like we're not only setting a new standard, we've got to live up to that new standard. And so there's a fragile and delicate process to make sure that happens. But yeah, we're talking thousands and thousands of pounds. So.
And once you taste it, you go, that's not enough.
I already said that wasn't enough for at least one member of our team.
You?
yeah, me.
No, but for me, a big part of Peak Refuel has been about feeling good, right? Feeling good in the backcountry and feeling good about what you're eating, how you're performing. And so now I look at this packaging. I already feel good because I'm looking at 𝗀់camo on the packaging, which is kind of special, right? That resonates with me being in the backcountry. I'm also looking at a beautiful face, right, Chad? So I'm like, all right, it's endorsed.
Motivation.
Motivation. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. And also on the back, I see, you know, there's a note signed by Chad, and it says a portion of the proceeds will be donated to wildlife conservation. Tell me about that, Mark.
Yeah. Wildlife, that's something that we're really passionate about. I mean, when we launched back in 2018, I mean, we had a list of everything we wanted to do one day. You make your big dream list, right? And on that list was one day be able to, when we're at a point as a company to be able to give back, we want to be able to do that. That's like top of our list. And, you know, with Chad's connection with 𝗀់, and that's why you see that on the pouch. And then you look at conservation efforts going out throughout, you know, the whole hunting community. We made that a top priority to go, okay, that's got to be a part of these meals. We talked to Chad about that, and we've got a lot of goals because we care about that. We care about where wildlife's going, wildlife for years to come, right? What are we doing to protect future generations of hunters it's becoming very popular, as you guys know. It's a growing industry, and we've got to protect that, right? And a great way for us to be able to open the door to be able to do that was to start off small with these meals and go, okay, we're all in. It's not just, hey, should we do this? No, we pushed everything in and go, yes, we're putting it right on the label, right? We're printing it on there that a portion of every one of these meals that's sold, we're gonna give back to wildlife conservation.
It's important too. When we've learned this, and fortunate for us, we've learned it without having to go through a negative experience. But obviously, it's important who you work with and who you associate with. And in the hunting world, in the hunting industry, it's no different. And you know, Chad's not just a pretty face, although he is that. But as we've gotten to know Chad and listen to his passions and what matters to him, conservation matters to him, and you know, we want to line ourselves up with relationships and commitments to conservation that are long term, that last a long time. And you know, there's a lot of different companies out there who have their way of doing conservation, or their angle on conservation. But sometimes it's difficult to really see what impact that's actually having. And so, you know, in working with Chad and others, we're gonna make sure that we are putting forth these proceeds in such a way where people can tangibly see the effects and the benefits. You know, we're not going to go out and create our own conservation program, because we know there are certain people out there that are doing it great, and they need to be contributed to. They need to be supported, and we feel like Peak can be that catalyst. And so, you know, what we're doing and what Chad's passions are and commitments to in conservation, we make that our own, and we're hoping to make lasting benefits to that going forward.
Like Seth said earlier, I mean, when it comes down to it, we're a food company, right? There's not a lot of bells and whistles to food company, and so we got to get creative as a company to go, okay, what can we do to help out? We know we're a food company. We want to be innovative. We're going to continue to push the limits when it comes to how we consume food in the backcountry to make sure that it doesn't take away, but enhances our experience, gives us a competitive edge, right? And we're going to continue to focus on that. But at the same time, how can we look at some of these other areas and still give back and help and support, like Seth said? And this is a perfect opportunity to do that for us, not to take our eye off what we're good at, right? And focus on that, but support others that are good at other things, conservation, that are already got all the skin in the game and know what they're doing and can do it a lot more efficiently than we can. And how can we support them? And this is how we feel we can best do that.
We talk about relationships. We feel like we have a tremendous relationship with Huntin, and you guys have been so generous and supportive of us right out of the gate. And we talk about the people we want to associate with and the people that we feel like align with in our efforts and reach, in ethics and in every other way. You know, that's why we're sitting here. You know, and that's why we care about the authentic user's experience. You guys are some of the most authentic people we know, both in the backcountry and as just human beings. And so, you know, we want to share that with you and follow your lead in making the hunting world better and better every year. So.
Oh, heck, we appreciate that. I know we're going to get to try some of these meals live with Chad watching. Sorry you're not here to stir it up for us, Chad, but
here's a spoon.
As we said earlier, this is a crazy time for everybody with what's happening in the world right now. I mean, we're here sitting in June. These meals launch in July, right? But we all know what we've been battling the last few months, right? So I know this is busy for everybody. So I know Chad's, man, he's in the thick of in between guiding hunts and working with clients, and so it's been a crazy 3 months getting, you know, finalizing these meals. Wouldn't you say, Chad?
I think so, man. But I think we nailed it, and I think we're right on track for the launch, obviously, and getting these suckers out to everybody. But it's definitely been a crazy time.
Smells good.
No, I think that's one thing I've enjoyed most about the Peak story and working with you guys is everything you do is real. I mean, Chad is one of the most real hunters I know. We go to Peak Refuel's office, it's real. There's real people. It's in American Fork, Utah. And you look at the food ingredients, well, those are carrots because that's what carrots are. This is noodles because that's what noodles are. You're like, oh, this is awesome. It's real. And that's why I've enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I think it's more and more people really appreciate knowing the people behind the brand, and I really appreciate your guys' kind words, but we felt the same way the first time we met you guys. It was like, these guys are outdoorsmen, humorists, pretty funny group of guys. Occasionally you hurt my feelings, but for the most part, I like you guys.
It's good humor. Our humor doesn't hurt, even though Seth would say my humor hurts.
Occasionally, it's gotta walk that fine line, or it's not any good. But no, seriously, if you're making brand choices out there in the freeze-dried space, you know, these guys are as real as it gets too, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that, guys.
Imagine how at home Jonah
So
would have felt
good.
in Colorado with this.
So,
like
so
mom
just to
just
give you
made
guys
nice
some
mashed
specs
potatoes
on this
while
meal
it's
that you're eating, right? So what they're tasting right now is the Bison Ranch Mashers, Chad. And just to give you an idea, you got in one pouch, right? Now, it's 2 servings, but we all know one of these pouches
Yes.
is 1, right? But you got 1,120 calories in the
That's
the
so
Bison
awesome.
Rancher Smashers.
Boom.
Followed
you
up
need
by
that.
40 grams of protein. And that's protein of bison. That's game meat right there. That's bison.
I need some more of that.
So good.
dibs on that other package.
Too, like that's good meat.
Slide that right on over down here.
Now we're getting into the Elk Ragu Pasta.
Ooh.
Oh man.
Give you some context here. We got 43 grams of protein on the Elk Ragu Pasta and 850 calories.
43 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Oh, that sauce is on point.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys do it.
This is good. Dude,
Brady, am I right?
you nailed it.
Hey,
Even the cameraman.
I have
gets
one
to try.
complaint, Chad. Seth is serving
better
us
pick
way
that
too
up.
slow.
I'm sorry, man.
It's
like-
like coming out of there.
Trying to fill up some cups, dude.
It's like so slow.
This one almost feels like light.
Coming right now, Jared.
Jared, I was
need
passing
a
this
lot
one
of
over.
it.
To you. I'm getting right in this one.
Man, that's good.
One thing that we kind of pride ourselves in is
Thank you, sir.
our pouches show what the food looks like. We don't shy away from putting our food right on the front of the pouch, right?
Yep.
And we didn't want to do that with this either, right? With these Chad Mendes meals. And so what you see, I'll ask you guys, because I mean nobody's going to believe me. I'm with Peak, but you guys. From what you're seeing, does it look? From what you guys ate from the Smashers, you're looking at the pouch right now, the picture of the Smashers and the Ragu, are you getting what you see on the pouch?
Yep. Oh, and
Yeah.
Chad's sitting right there, so I got the
Yeah,
whole
you
thing.
get Chad's on the pouch and he's right here.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna screenshot it and take it with me to the mountains. Set Chad up next to me when I'm
We
eating.
try to be as transparent and honest and authentic and real about our food as we can, and the best way to do that is show people what they're getting. Show people what's in the bag, right? Use real ingredients, real protein, 100% real meat, you know, no filler ingredients.
Got any of those mashers left?
Yeah, we got some.
Those are my favorite too, man. Those are so good.
That pasta though.
That pasta is bomb.
Has like a perfect tangy flavor in the pasta.
We better.
It's hard to describe.
Where's Garth and Braxton? They better get
they-
into some of this.
We've got a couple more
got,
samples we can whip up for them.
Dude, that's
Wow.
Dude.
No, every Peak meal that I've ate, including these signature meals, has a very homemade taste.
Yes.
I mean, you could serve it at Sunday dinner at Grandma's house, and you would knock it out of the park.
Yep.
That's the feel.
This is like Thanksgiving right here.
What's really rewarding?
That was one.
Oh, go ahead.
That
Chad.
was one of my favorite things about them. Like when I ate them on the mountain that night, I was like, these, like, do not taste like any of the other meals that I've eaten in the backcountry before. Like I would eat those, and I actually have before. Like if I'm busy, I got a ton of stuff in the office, and I don't feel like sitting down and like making the whole meal. I'll just like microwave or boil some water and throw it in there and get back in my office and just sit there and eat while I'm working. You know, it's not. I don't feel guilty for sitting there eating something out of a bag that was freeze dried. A lot of those other meals, like I said, I would not be going to the bathroom right for a week. Like things would be wrong.
You got to know that most of the other meals on the market, they use ingredients through development that ultimately, I mean, to be straight up, they cheapen the product, right? And there's a business component to it, an economic component to it, and that is some of the corners they take. When they do that, you're consuming food, those fillers. Your body's not used to processing that on a daily basis, and so when you are in the backcountry 3 days in and you're eating that, yeah, that's why your guts are busted up, is because some of the stuff that's in those meals is just not stuff you'd normally eat.
Well, I think that was the cool thing when we went up there, is you could actually see the process of this is real food.
Yeah.
It's in the freezer in the back or in the fridge.
We literally, when we talk about 3,500 pounds, that's a huge volume, but we literally cook it just like you would at home.
Yep.
And then we freeze dry it. And so there's no difference in terms of ingredient and quality of ingredient. We go to great lengths just to have just the best quality we can. And it's not going to bust your guts in the backcountry.
A big thing for me is I've actually, you used to dread your freeze-dried meal at night. And so you bring a giant pile of snacks for lunch, and you're like, okay, if I need it at the end of the day and I have enough water. Well, now with Peak, I find myself putting a Peak meal in as my lunch.
Yeah, I'll carry a jet boil and a Peak in the field with me for lunch. Yes.
Yeah, and so we'll actually have an afternoon meal, and then when you're back at camp meal in the evening, because it doesn't take that much water.
Yeah, right.
I've got the protein I need, and it tastes good.
Oh yeah.
Like
on a warm August day, especially midday, one of my favorite things is a strawberry granola, just as a trail snack. You know what I mean?
Right.
And gosh, that boosts you up. It tastes good. It's refreshing. A lot of berries in there, and it's food that we want to be a part of the process, not that you have to dread or not look forward to.
What's been really rewarding, just the last couple of years as a young company and trying to go to as many expos and events as we can, right? And for us, the proof is in the bag. People will come by and go, "Oh, I've had that before. I don't want any." We're fighting these past
stereotypes,
experiences of the meals on the mountain, right? Like you just said, Austin, you dread having to eat that, and these same people at these shows and expos we've been to feel the same way. And so for us to go, no, it's different. Just give it a try. Just give it a try. And to see people's reaction,
right?
Right there at our booth, oh my gosh, this is good, and they want more and they want more, and to interact with them and go, just imagine if it tastes good here, in a convention center, just imagine how good it's going to feel after an 8-mile haul all day, and you get back to camp, like that's going to taste like heaven, So it's fun to change that perception, to be a part of something where we're changing that perception. And I think we've upped it another level with these signature meals with Chad. Chad's done a tremendous job with like he said earlier, he's so good at creating incredible recipes, right? And we have
seen some of the stuff he's done on Traeger.
It's awesome.
Chad's
he's
always
a wizard.
Up.
He's a wizard.
Yeah.
And so it's been really fun. Like he said earlier, he sent us a big list, right?
Right.
And it was like we got this list and we're like, man, we want to do all of these.
That was my
question. The hardest part for us, besides developing them, was like trying to pick two. Narrow it down to the ones that we want. And it's been fun to see that these meals translate. We didn't want any drop off with these signature meals. If we were going to do it, we wanted to do it right with one, the meal, but two, the partner, right? Yep. And we've done that with the meal. I feel we've leveled up with the taste, the quality, and the performance of what this meal is, but two, with a partner like Chad. I mean, we all know that there's the hunting world, the hunting network family there's some incredible people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. It's so fun. And Chad's one of those guys. Chad's one of those guys that you meet him for the first time and you felt like you've known him for years, right? You wouldn't imagine that this dude stood toe-to-toe with some of the greatest fighters in the world in an octagon. You'd be intimidated or scared or think that he's not on your level. But that's what's been so fun working with Chad is he's so personable. He's so down. He's just a regular dude, right? And he's a regular dude that loves to hunt, loves good meals, and is an incredible cook and creates awesome recipes. And so, yeah, it's been a fun project to be a part of.
Sure. Heck, after trying this,
thanks, Mark.
I'm
I
curious what the
appreciate
run-ups were.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a bigger pack to haul more meals with me. One of each.
Hey, can you guys talk a little bit? I'm sure we're going to get some questions about, like, how do you source bison and elk? Like, can you talk a little bit about that?
I'm going to let Seth field that because he's the guy that handles all our kind of operations and stuff like that. Seth's been in charge of the sourcing.
So you got to be sourcing meats it's a whole different level in terms of making sure that you're capturing the best quality.
Right.
There's a lot of distributors out there. There's a lot of especially with like beef and chicken. You know what I mean? Our regular Peak meals. Not all quality of chicken and beef is created equal.
Yeah. Right?
And so I would say that the longest process in all of this was making sure we got it right on both the elk and the bison. Both elk and bison are free range. Obviously, we didn't go out and shoot these animals,
right?
Especially to provide it at the scale that we needed to provide it at. But they're healthy. and are coming out of Wyoming, a ranch up in Wyoming, and we've combed through all the details and all the spec sheets and everything to make sure that, and some game meats out there they'll actually cut with beef, you know, to kind of dilute it and bring costs down. We didn't go that route. We weren't going to go that route. It was 100% bison, 100% elk, and you know, there's a component that we would like to think we can help contribute to. We talk about the growing nature and wanting to preserve opportunity for coming generations. You know, there are people who hunting is a foreign concept to them, right? These types of meats are certainly foreign. And if we, in our own way, in our own minds, can think, hey, maybe this can be a segue or an introduction to those people of how elk can be consumed or bison can be consumed. Right. And maybe that even opens a door or even an interest in what it's like to be self-sufficient and hunt.
Yeah, to harvest your own.
Yeah,
meat.
totally.
The whole concept of
we would like to think we would like to think that we can help contribute to that in some small way, and so we wanted to make sure we were getting the finest and cleanest meat available, possibly domestically here in the U.S., and have it pair well with these recipes. And like I said, we're guys that just love good food, passionate about good food. Clearly, we don't go hungry very often.
Look at us.
And
there's no surprise we're in a food company.
Yeah, we eat a lot of samples. Let's just say that. But if we in a small way can somehow provide an introduction to these meats, the quality that they are, the clean protein that they're consuming, how good they taste, you know, paired with great recipes that have been provided and created, we would like to think in our minds we're helping people be introduced to a new way, and to the other day I had my daughter. We were hunting turkeys up on a hill, and we got into this tom. This was her first experience with that. A year ago, my daughter, hunting was so foreign and something she didn't want to have anything to do with. But we got her into that and introduced her into that, and it was an overnight experience to where now, you know, she's counting down the days till we're hunting this fall, and she's excited. And you know, the way I look at it is good food brings all different types of people to the table. I know that sounds corny and cliche, but it's true. You know, if we can create a good meal that interests a vast variety of people, maybe we can put a further spotlight on this segment, the hunting segment, and the powerful experience it can provide us for our families, and carry on the traditions that we're obviously trying to carry on. So I know that's big vision for a measly little food company, but we like to think we're helping. We like to think that we're trying to help. So
yeah, just to touch base on what Seth just said about introducing these game meats to new people. Like, I get hit up all the time on my social media by, you know, people that have followed me for years for the fighting side of it, but have never hunted in their entire life, you know, don't even know how to even begin or start doing it. But I get asked all the time when I post a recipe, whether it's elk, bison, wild boar, whatever, people will DM me. Like, I'll get hundreds sometimes after posting a recipe, people saying, hey, can I buy some of this meat off of you? Which obviously legally I can't do that. But, you know, I think this is going to be a great way for those types of people who obviously don't have the resources or just don't know how to go out and physically hunt an animal and harvest it and put that meat in the freezer. Now, not only do they get to try some of my personal recipes that I've made, but they get to try these game meats now. They get to do elk, they get to do bison, you know, and they can buy these meals and try them. And who knows, maybe it's something they love so much that it is going to light a fire in their ass to figure out, hey, how do I get out there and get in the field? How do I get out there and hunt these animals to fill my freezer? You know, and so hopefully this is just another one of those, you know, just helping people get back into the sport of hunting. You know, there's, like you said, this day and age, it's such a foreign thing. And I feel like, you know, the newer generation, sometimes it's you know, it's getting tough to get these guys into the field, kind of teach the younger generation what hunting is and why we do it. You know, like I said, there's a lot of people that look at it as something that's barbaric and there's no need for it with modern day farming. But you also get the types of people that are harassing because, you know, you're going out there and killing animal or eating these animals that are raised in a pen. So, you know, I think all in all, this is going to be a big eye opener for people, and hopefully it just helps get those people in the field.
Well said.
Well, That's awesome. We sure appreciate you guys letting us taste these meals.
Thank you.
I mean, I'll let everybody here vote for themselves, but as I think about the last couple of years and how hunting gear has changed, I mean, has my backpack changed? Maybe a little. My tripod's changed? Maybe a little. Binoculars are still binoculars. But Peak is really an innovative product. When I think back of what has really changed on my list, it's changed all my food lists because of Peak. And now I don't want to go without it. But it's a very innovative product. When you say in the hunting industry, like upside down, we're not just making it a touch better. We flipped the whole model upside down for freeze-dried food.
Yeah, no, I just got another big box of Peak in that we ordered and paid for. You know, just to be clear.
We appreciate the support.
Yeah, no, just to be clear. And my wife literally, she looks at me and she's like, "How much Peak do you possibly need?" And I'm like, "I can't stop. I'm hoarding." Yeah, no, I agree.
That's cool. We appreciate that. We appreciate that support.
Appreciate that. You know, as a young company, trying to make it and trying to make waves and not just be another company that's popped up and then gone tomorrow, right? We looked at that, our strategy, and you know, we wanted to shake things up a little bit. And like Seth introduced us at the beginning, it's hard to be innovative. You know, we're just a food company. What really can you do, right? But after diving into it and you know, Seth and our team has done an incredible job of seeing, okay, here's what's lacking, you know, in not just the hunting, but in the outdoor world, right? When it comes to backpacking food.
Backpacking, fishing.
In general, right? You know, this is what's lacking. A good quality meal with real ingredients, high protein, you know, less water, no filler ingredients, right? And that's what we base everything off. And as long as we follow that model, you know,
we'll continue to be innovative.
We'll continue to be innovative, yeah. So we appreciate that. We appreciate all the support from the Huntful family.
And we appreciate you guys. So peakrefuel.com, Instagram at Peak Refuel.
Yep.
Of course, Chad Mendes at Chad Mendes on social.
One thing we should mention,
launch
though,
these July 1st.
Yeah, one thing we should mention, July 1st, these are available only on peakrefuel.com. So exclusively on the website at peakrefuel.com.
Elk and Bison, peakrefuel.com, July 1st.
Yep, that's it.
July 1st.
Awesome. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your time, Chad. We sure appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. I'm super excited for this launch, man. This is one of the biggest things I've been a part of, and you know, it really does mean a lot to me. So for you guys letting us come on and just talk about this, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck this weekend, Chad.
All right, guys.
Yeah, take care, buddy.
I'll probably be posting some photos. Yeah, hopefully we get some pics down.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Okay, we'll see you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Where are we at on the Jared Lyle series? The carbohydrate.
Ready?
Oh my hell.
I'm thinking
need
pizza,
more or
French
what?
fries.
I got a Seth Adams one coming out that's just cake.
Yeah, I could get on board with that.
Biscuits and gravy.
We could call it the carbohydrate cocktail series.
Yeah, right. I'm down, man.
Yeah, I'm in.
So now that we're off, you guys were okay.
What do you think about the flavor?
Unreal.
Is there anything you change about that?
See,
I mean, obviously we're a little
It's
late
too
in the
late.
game to change.
So-
However, I asked that in the context of
Future.
how can we improve? Because we're always trying to improve.
Is the ragu too sweet for you?
No.
Because I love it.
And I am
But I
not
like
a-
tomato base.
No, it has a tanginess in it that I love.
So
I honestly thought, and I thought for sure this would be my number one. I think I liked the ragu a little bit better, and I'm not even like a spaghetti pasta kind of guy.
You're typically not.
We went through a lot of renditions of the ragu, and it was really trying to find that fine line of being too acidic or too sweet, and enough creaminess, and you know, we wanted to make ragu different than like our marinara.
Right.
You know, our marinara is more cheesy, more creamy. And a true ragu with incorporating other vegetables like carrots and celery, you got to have a little bit more of a tomatoey kick to it.
Yep.
So we went through a ton of revisions on that one until we felt like we landed where it could find a fine balance between too sweet, too acidic.
Because that's what, when I first saw it, I thought, ooh, that just looks like the marinara with elk.
Right.
You know, but it's totally different.
Yeah.
The noodles are a
Yeah.
lot softer and lighter.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
even
where
That's why
the
we
whole
had
thing
originally-
feels light.
Yes.
Originally, we
Heavy,
had
like
the same
that's
noodles.
what I was saying.
Oh, did you?
Spiral pasta.
Not too sweet.
See, that's too much.